I know I'm talking to somebody 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, 70 years old. God's trying to do a new thing in you. Don't just go, it doesn't fit me. This doesn't fit me. You got to grow into it. It might not be a design issue. It might be a development issue. And this is a tough one, man. You got to sit there for a minute because think about this, these two competing ideas. One is we would admire someone that says, that's not designed for me. But then we would also say, like, you're a work in progress. So don't just disqualify yourself from stuff because it doesn't fit. Maybe it doesn't fit yet. It may not be a design issue. It might be a development issue. That if you'll stay with it, you're not going to know unless you stay with it. Because we would say, on one hand, accept who God's made you to be and accept who you are. But on the other hand, we would say, don't just accept who you are. You're not who you're going to be, right? We would say both of them. Matthew, the writer of Matthew, we're introduced to him in Mark 2 when he's a tax collector, but we're really introduced to him in the book of Matthew when he's an author. He wasn't ready to be an author, a gospel writer in Mark 2. He was a work in progress. The role didn't fit him in Mark 2, but it wasn't a design issue, it was a development issue. So I don't have an answer for you because if it's not your design, if it's not your design, the answer is get out. No shame, it's not for you, it's for somebody else, God bless. If it's a development issue, then you've got to stay in it because it doesn't fit you yet. You remember when you were a kid and you were growing? You ever take a growing kid shopping? You don't buy them what fits them, right? Your 13-year-old son goes in, tries something on. He's like, oh, this is great. It fits like a glove. You're like, no, that's not it. Take it off. I work too hard for my money. We're going to size up. Depending on how fast he's growing, you might size up twice, okay? We're going to get you something you can grow into, okay? How many of you, come on, how many of you remember? Come on. Remember this? Some of you need to be reintroduced to this. But no, remember how good this felt when you were a kid? You were a growing kid. You showed up at the shoe store, you were like, I've been eating my Wheaties, baby. Yeah, I've been sleeping good. I've been working out. Go ahead. They get on, oh man, wasn't that good though? They'd be like, oh, you're an 8. You're like, dang right, I'm an 8. They start saying stuff to your mom like, what are you feeding that kid? You're like, yeah, Miracle Grow, baby. Yeah, I'm at it. Wait till you see me next time. So you take those size 8s and you're playing ball and you're tearing up the soles and now it's time, we got to go back to Foot Locker. You show up at Foot Locker, you're like, yeah, I'm back. They're like, ooh, you're a 10.5 now. You're like, you ain't seen nothing yet. I still got some growing left to do. And they kept moving. Remember how good it felt to grow? Remember how good it felt to size up and you grew into it? Here's what happens. We know how our bodies work. Our bodies are on a bell curve. You're born, you grow, you plateau, you decline, you die. That's a summary of what happens. I know, it's blunt, but that's just what happens. And hopefully it's not a shocker. That's what happens. Paul says in 2 Corinthians, though our bodies are bell curving, our bodies are plateauing and declining, our spirits are being renewed every day. So at some point, I knew I was an 11. It's been a long time since I've been on one of these. Chances are you hadn't seen one of these in decades, dude, because you already know what size you are. And once you know what size you are, you just buy that same size every single time. And of course, it's true for your foot, it's true for your clothing, but it should not be true of your attitude. It should not be true of your mindset. It should not be true of your spirit. It should not be true of your conflict skills. It should not be true of how you do relationship, of your faith, of your spiritual life. You should be renewed every day. You should be sizing up. But often we go, oh no, I'm an 11. And you put something on, it doesn't fit. The problem is it's time for you to grow again. Get this back out, size back up. Your body quit growing, your spirit is new. You need to grow in. I know I'm talking to somebody 30, 40, 50, 60 years old, 70 years old. God's trying to do a new thing in you. Don't just go, it doesn't fit me. This doesn't fit me. You got to grow into it. It might not be a design issue. It might be a development issue. So don't fall into this like this is the old school. This is old time, long time ago. I quit growing. For some of you, it's time God wants to reignite some growth. You got to size up, put something on. It doesn't fit yet. It might not be designed for you. If it is not designed for you, walk away. But if it is, you just need to develop into it. You got to stay with it.